You know, the newly launched POCO F5 is giving me serious POCO F1 vibes, man. Okay, let's make a checklist. Great processor, check. Lightweight design, check. Superb display, check. Headphone jack, check. Stereo speakers, check. Latest software, check. Decent camera setup, check. Big battery and fast charging, check and check. But most importantly, super aggressive pricing, big check. But you and I both know that checking off a list of boxes in a checklist is not enough to make a recommendation here at Trakin English. Well, I have tested the POCO F5 extensively, and while almost everything about the phone is good, there's one problem. If you're here for the first time, I'm Ershad, you're watching Trakin English. Let's review the POCO F5. You know why the POCO F5 feels a lot like the F1 is because of the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2 chip inside it. Now this, despite being a 7 series chip, has the performance of an 8 series chip. It's based on the same 4nm fabrication process that's been used for the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 and has a very similar 1 plus 3 plus 4 core architecture as well. You get the Cortex X2 Prime core, then you've got the Cortex A510 and the Cortex A710 as well. The only difference is that the 8 Plus Gen 1 has higher clock speeds. By the way, the GPU inside is the Adreno 725 with no ray tracing support, of course. Now, to compare the performance of the 8 Plus Gen 1 to the 7 Plus Gen 2 would be wrong because the most affordable phone with the 8 Plus Gen 1 is the OnePlus 11R at 40,000. Now, in the F5's price category, what you used to get until now as the best processor would be the Dimensity 8200, which is present inside the iQOO Neo 7. Now, the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2 comfortably beats the MediaTek Dimensity 8200 in Antutu and Geekbench 6. You can see that the scores are higher. Although what matters is sustained performance, so I ran a CPU throttle test engaging 40 cores for 30 minutes in the performance mode, and I got a stability of about 78%. Now that's pretty good, if not the best. I also wanted to run the 3D Mark Wildlife stress test, but every single Redmi and POCO phone that we get before launch for review, it's disabled. Anyway, to understand real life gaming performance, I played Call of Duty Mobile at low graphics and 120 frames per second, which is possible on the phone, for about 40 minutes to an hour, and absolutely no frame drops, and the phone didn't get too hot either. In fact, in Fallout 84, it can get really intense in the final sections of the game, and even in those intense battles, there were very few frame drops. And if you're a gamer, you will also appreciate the fact that the display has a touch sampling rate of 240Hz. It's very responsive to touches. Plus, it's of course a flat display. Add UFS 3.1 storage, LPDDR5 RAM, and you get really smooth performance in daily usage. Easily, this is the best performing phone under Rs 30,000. Now, if you've come this far, do give us your support by subscribing to our content. All that great performance, but what about battery life? Is the 7 Plus Gen 2 good at power efficiency? Well, worry not, the battery chugs along just fine. With the default automatic refresh rate setting option, I got a screen on time of about 7 hours, which is very good. And the phone also charges from 0 to 100 in about 40 minutes using the 67-watt charger that you get inside the box. Now, the phone also supports every single 5G band that you need. So the N77, the N78 5G bands especially are present. So Airtel and Jio 5G work exceptionally well. And apart from that, the earpiece quality is very good for phone calls too. Another huge advantage on the POCO F5 is its display. First things first, just take a look at those extremely narrow bezels around the 6.67-inch POLED display. It is absolutely stunning. Now, this is a 12-bit panel with 120Hz refresh rate. Again, this is the variable refresh rate kind, which can switch between 30, 60, 90, 120 depending on the content that's playing. And there's support for Dolby Vision on Netflix, and this panel can actually reach a peak brightness of 1000 nits. Now, POCO has something called adaptive HDR on the panel. What that does is basically it takes a look at the ambient light and then tunes the highlights and the shadows accordingly to ensure that if the light is very high, then the brightness also goes higher. And it works exceptionally well, especially at controlling the highlight peaks when you're watching content in the dark, because it does look very good. Also, the color gradation is pretty smooth with that 12-bit panel with 100% DCI-P3 color gamut support as well. You also do get Corning Gorilla Glass 5 protection on the front of the display, and one very important feature in the display is an 1920Hz PWM dimming that is available. A lot of people I know and folks in our comment section have mentioned that they are sensitive to low PWM and therefore it causes them headaches due to eye strain. That's not gonna happen on the POCO F5. In fact, it's a problem even on a more expensive phone like the Galaxy S23 Ultra, which has low PWM. Seriously, very well done POCO with the display of the phone. Clearly, this is one of the best panels that we have in this price category. Now, despite the fact that you have an OLED panel, you do not get an in-display fingerprint scanner. The fingerprint scanner is on the side, but it's very fast, so I have no complaints really. Add a set of stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos in the mix and you get really good multimedia experience as well. Take a listen to it right next to the iQOO Neo 7 and let me know what you guys think. That's not it. This phone also comes with a proper headphone jack with high-res support no less. I tested my Moondrop Blessing too and it sounds really good. To find a phone with a 3.5mm headphone jack today is so rare as it is to find a good Bollywood movie. Okay, let's talk about the design now. You get two color variants, one in black and one in white. The black one has a Kevlar pattern and the white one has a frosty design with snowflakes on it. It kind of looks cool if you ask me. And the black one is extremely glossy and therefore reflective and also attracts a lot of smudges. By the way, if you're wondering, the rear is made of polycarbonate, but the sides are made of metal. And I really like the in-hand feel of the phone too. You've got flat sides, it's only about 7.9mm thick, but more importantly, it weighs only about 180 grams, very comfortable. But there are three more important things that you need to know. You get an infrared blaster using which you can control the appliances in your house. You also get an IP53 rating, which is great, but you do not get a micro SD card slot. By the way, you also get an X-axis motor inside the phone, and therefore the haptic feedback tuning is pretty good. Overall though, the POCO F5 is a rare combination of good design and function. By the way, the F5's predecessor, the POCO F4, is still a great phone, and if you want to buy it, YouTube has a handy product buying link now. Go check it out and let me know what you feel like about the shopping experience on YouTube itself. As for the software, the F5 runs on MIUI 14 based on Android 13, and POCO promises 2 years of software updates and 3 years of security updates as well. I like MIUI 14. I really like the animations. It's got a lot of features and it runs really smooth on this very good hardware. But the problem is that it is filled with a lot of unnecessary bloatware apps, especially those games. I don't see a reason why they need to exist. You're also constantly fed with annoying pop-ups when you open the app drawer, like we saw with the Realme 10 Pro Plus. Essentially, POCO is working with branch metrics to give you an advanced search option, but then it'll mine your data, which is not really helpful. Plus, there's the glance integration on the lock screen, which I'm not really a fan of. I guess POCO had to subsidize the cost of the phone somehow, and this is how they did it. Although the software is not as much of a problem as the cameras are. And that is the one problem or the catch that I mentioned at the start of the review. The primary 64MP camera uses an OmniVision OV654B sensor, and there's optical image stabilization as well. It captures fairly detailed shots in daylight, but the colors are not very accurate. The camera definitely struggles indoors, and the HDR performance is not that great either. The highlights are generally blown out. People's pictures don't have any skin tone accuracy, and the portraits have poor edge cutouts too. In fact, if you shoot moving subjects, the pictures generally come out blurry as well because of slow shutter response. As for the low light night mode shots, well, that's not very good either. It can't pull out too many details from the darker portions of the image. The 16MP selfie camera captures enough details, but despite switching off the beauty mode, it captures brighter images. And apart from that, the portrait edge cutout and the depth mapping is not that great, and the HDR performance is not very good either. The 8MP ultra wide angle camera is alright with the details, but the algorithm spits out cooler images compared to the warmer primary camera shots. Therefore, you will generally face some color science inconsistency. The 2MP macro camera is well a 2MP macro camera, nothing much to talk about. Now, you can also shoot 4K 30fps videos using the primary camera, but the quality is not very good, to be honest. Generally, if you're out and about shooting in the bright sunlight, the footage does get blown out. And ideally, the 7 Plus Gen 2 can also shoot 4K 60fps videos, but I don't know why the POCO F5 cannot. Thankfully, at least the front camera can shoot 1080p 60fps video, and it is not limited to 30fps, which is a good thing. All that said, POCO has managed to grab the attention of the tech enthusiast audience once again with its pricing. The pricing is of course great, and you have absolutely no compromise on the performance and the display. In this price category, the F5 has the best performance and the best display, which automatically makes the POCO F5 the best gaming phone and the best multimedia phone, because you also get great stereo speakers and a headphone jack. The only real problem, like I mentioned, is in the camera department. So if you want a camera-oriented phone, the POCO F5 is not the one for you. You can choose the Pixel 6a or the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE in this price category instead. For everyone else who doesn't care too much about the camera performance, I definitely recommend the POCO F5. So what do you guys think of the POCO F5? Would you buy it? Would you recommend it to your friends? Let me know in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.